Hi, welcome to Stir 'em Up. My name is Naomi.
And I'm Susie, and Naomi has some really exciting news to share with us.
As you can see, I'm no longer pregnant, so we welcomed our second son, Gavin, into this world exactly a month ago today. So
we're calling him Little G. Oh no, Baby G.
Gab,
Oh, we're
baby
calling
Gab.
him Gab.
But you can call him Baby G, it's okay. But yeah, so we're enjoying him and not getting a lot of sleep, but it's been good. So today we're talking about building your community. So I'm really excited about this topic. And if you want to jump in.
Sure. So I read a book about 4 years ago called The Gospel Comes with a House Key from Rosario Butterfield. And she really stirred me up into wanting to reach my neighbors with the gospel of Christ. The book just really helped me put into practice living out the gospel to those around me. So just real quick, I want to share with you a story about my neighbors. 3 years ago, we had new neighbors move in, and it was very cold, like January, February, but super cold. And it was dark and late, and my youngest was just starting to get sick, and I pulled in the driveway and I saw their U-Haul. They had started moving. And I thought, oh.
At night?
Yes, it was night. Isn't that weird? Anyhow, I thought, oh man, I'm not gonna go help them. I'm just gonna go to bed. But my son said, no mom, let's go do it. And so we all got out, and except for my daughter who was starting to feel sick, and helped our neighbors move. And it started a friendship at that point with our neighbors. And
it's amazing what those little things will do.
Yeah, they were really...
They just like makes people feel like, oh, you know,
yes.
like comfortable with you.
Yeah, and they were really, we found out they're kind of like nighttime people anyhow.
Yeah.
Like we've had our best conversations at night with
That's
them.
Cool.
So, but when we think of the gospel, the death, burial, and resurrection of Jesus Christ, it's difficult sometimes to put in practice until we completely understand how the gospel works. So let's just do a little bit of the gospel review. We need to understand why Christ came to the world in the first place. So why? Let's ask that question. Well, in the beginning, we know about Adam and Eve and creation, and God made the heaven and the earth, and he placed Adam and Eve in the garden. And God told Adam to tend the garden, to make the garden look like heaven on earth. And Adam, we know, sinned and disobeyed God by taking the fruit. So now Adam is separated from God, and we know that he sewed fig leaves together to hide from God, and there is now separation. Well, because of that sin, we are all sinners. And we've transgressed the law of God because we are born of Adam. So sin brings death. Adam and Eve had to die, and everybody who was born after Adam and Eve has to die. And Adam could no longer live in the garden. He was withheld from the garden. And he could no longer walk face to face with the Lord. He was now a sinner just like us.
Yeah. And because he was a sinner like us, God had to send a second Adam, which I think is so cool, like that picture, and how Jesus came and how he was perfect. He was a perfect image bearer of God.
Yes.
He didn't sin, like, you know, he didn't sin against God. He didn't do anything wrong his entire life.
Yeah.
And he was the perfect Adam.
Right.
Where Adam, you know.
What Adam could not do because of his sin,
Jesus did.
Christ fulfilled in his perfect bearing of, image bearing of God. And now we, as Christians, are image bearers also. And the way that we bear the image of God is we have a purpose now. This is our purpose. We bear the image of Christ and God to the world around us. Our purpose is to show Christ through our lives. Okay, so like Adam making the Garden of Eden a little heaven on earth, it's the same thing of us. We can make a little heaven on earth by sharing the gospel with the people around us. My husband likes to call it pushing back the curse. So the sin that Adam made caused the curse on mankind, and we push back the curse every day. It's like our purpose. We wake up and you can say, what are we going to do today? Well, we're going to push back the curse, and I'm going to push back the curse by living for God in the gospel. I'm going to push back the curse by making our homes clean and tidy. We push back the curse a little bit every day.
Every time we redeem some part we're pushing that curse back. Yeah,
Yeah.
I like that.
But we know that the curse is also pushing.
Yeah.
So it's like the Bible says renewing every day. We have to renew our minds. God's mercies are new every morning, but we still try to push the curse back. So in thinking about building our communities, how do we accomplish this? So I just wrote down, let's see, there are 9 practical ways about building our community. So back when I was a teenager, it was popular in the church to go door to door and just knock just a strange person's door and just say, hey, come to church with us. Or, hey, the question was, do you know 100% for sure if you died today that you would go to heaven? I'm not opposed to that, but I want to give you some practical ways to build relationship with your community, with your neighbors, so that one day they can see you, the gospel living in you, and they hopefully will become image bearers of Christ. So
That's
the
cool.
first thing I think that we have to do is just introduce yourself to your neighbors. So when I
Which seems so practical, but I mean, we often just like go in and close our garage door.
And it's so easy to do.
Yes.
And it does take time, and we are busy people.
Yes.
But when I introduce myself to our neighbors, somehow I tell them I'm a Christian. Somehow I tell them I go to church. Somehow I speak a little, like I don't give them the whole gospel right then at that first time, but somehow I will give them a way to know that I will pray for them. I will, my door's open to them, but I introduce myself and let them know that I'm a Christian. So number 2, in this world of social media, after I get to know them a little bit, if I find out that they do have a social media, I will follow them.
That's good, yeah.
Which kind of holds you accountable to what you post on social media. So just be aware of that too. Then number 3, remember them on holidays and special occasions. So we have some neighbors who are Muslim and they practice different holidays than we practice. But on those holidays, I've looked up how I can encourage them or just love them or just let them know that I'm thinking about them at those times. And so like Ramadan is kind of right after our Easter. And so I looked up little gifts that I could give them during that time. And then they had a baby, and we celebrated their baby with them, and they have also invited us to their home for their daughter's birthday party.
Yeah.
So just like little things that you can do like that, and remembering them and letting them know. Also invite them, number 4, to any gathering that you have. It might be just a backyard barbecue or something like that, but if there is something that you would open your home up to them for, invite them out there.
I always thought it'd be fun to do like a neighborhood like block
Block
party
party?
or something like that.
So that is one of my points too.
Yeah.
So good job. I'll go ahead and say it. So number 8 says have a block party, which takes some organization, but is really worth it to everyone just getting together and knowing their neighbors, and then they kind of think like, oh, this is fun.
Yeah. And as a side note to that, I think it's the 2nd or the 1st Tuesday in August is National Neighbor Night Out.
Oh.
So like most cities will like actually do, like you can call your city and like they'll bring the fire truck to your
That
like
is
house for
great.
free or something. So
Well, thanks.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. That's
we've
fantastic.
always thought about doing one, but we actually never have. So maybe we should put it into practice.
Maybe this year. I'll help you.
Okay.
Or you can help me.
Yeah.
But number 5, and this probably should have been number 1, is be genuine. So I feel like I should say this because people can tell if you're just using them to get something.
No, yeah.
And sometimes I felt like that with the door-to-door knocking that I talked about earlier, that I was just talking with them because I wanted them to come to my church, or I wanted to be able to write their name down in my Bible that they got saved. But in relationship building, because your neighbor is going to be your neighbor for quite some time.
Yeah.
So just be genuine with them. Just let them know, yeah, you have bad times too. You have rough days, and sometimes your trash doesn't get to the curb. It's okay.
Or you have too much of it.
Yeah, sometimes I get nervous about that too. But the last one I want to say, oh, not the last one, number 7, it says go on walks in your neighborhood when it's nice outside.
And that's a really good one because like now we have 2 kids, so Caleb has been taking Brayden on walks almost every day. And I think he has met more neighbors in the last month than we've met in like the 4 years that we've lived in our house. and like they'll come out and like give Brayden like candy and stuff.
Oh,
It's like
that's
it's
nice.
really cute.
That was very cool. During COVID, we went out a lot
Yeah.
and walked, and we met so many
Yeah.
of our neighbors, and they know us, and
Yeah.
they stop at our house
Mhm.
and they'll say things to us, and that's really
Yeah.
very cool. We live in a subdivision, so it's a little easier, but I used to live in the country where my neighbors were so far
Yeah.
away, but I ran. I would
Mhm.
run, 3 miles probably every other day, and my neighbors saw me and they would come out and cheer me on, and so that was
That's
just
fun.
kind of a way that
Yeah.
they get to see who you are. The last one is, this is so important, because where we can't have conversations with the gospel maybe just out of the blue, but we can invite them to church or a study that you hold at your house or something that's going on, and they get to hear the gospel because you invited them. So we do surveys from time to time, and like on Facebook, I'll say, how did you come to church? And most of the people, and I don't want to give a statistic, but most of the people would say, because somebody invited me. And so invite people. You would be surprised how many people would take you up on that. I just want to say right now, we have lived in our subdivision for 4 years. We have one committed neighbor. We have one neighbor who is a committed member of our church. Every Sunday she comes, Jan. And then we have 2 other neighbors who have visited our church but have not made a commitment. And we have one neighbor that we are super in contact with, back and forth, that ask us questions about the gospel all the time. And my end goal is to see my neighbors come to the knowledge of Christ, because God is good and He transforms. And we can take hope in one day that the King is coming, and He's coming to redeem His people. And we right now are pushing back the curse, but the King is going to push back the curse to never be able to invade us again, and we get to live in that hope. And we can live right now knowing that the King will come and push away the curse for eternity. So I want you to go reach somebody with the gospel and introduce yourself to your neighbors. Go stir them up.